Hello, Lindsay and Kristi. Welcome to the Matriarch podcast.
Hello.
As you probably know, Matriarch is all about creating wealth and well-being for women. So I wanted to start our conversation by asking each of you, what does well-being mean to you?
It's a great question. Well-being to me is very much of the people that I'm surrounded by. I get my well-being through people and my energy through that, but really bringing people who enlighten my life around me and surround me with just love. And that to me is what is the true nature of well-being. If I have good people surrounding by me and I'm able to spend time with them, my family, my friends, and people that just make me a better person, and I'm hopefully able to do that for them as well.
How about you, Kristi?
Yeah, and for me, well-being, for me, it's personal. I need to feel good when I feel like I have well-being. So how I feel inside is key. And for me, in this last year, definitely in this journey, just being at the age that I'm at, it's all about what I'm eating and not drinking, and and better eating habits and not drinking has allowed me to be more present with my family and with people that I work with and Levant, and it's just allowed for that wholeness in myself to come out in other areas. So for me right now, that's my personal journey for well-being, is just allowing myself to feel good so I can feel good and be good to others.
Yeah, this whole thing with the drinking and the food, as we get a certain age, you feel every single thing that goes in.
Everything.
Right?
Yeah.
Just a little amount of sugar, a little bit amount of alcohol. It just throws you off. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm feeling the same thing. I've really had to change a lot of what I eat in the last few years. And I feel a lot better, more vital, and more energetic.
Right. I fought it for a long time. Yeah, but I'm not going back. I'm not going back to my 20s and 30s. So finally gave in.
Yeah, exactly. We can't live like we lived before. I think it's also evolving. It's not just even about aging. I feel like it's just an ever evolving, and we're always in transition, and there's menopause, for example, is just one of them, but it's just transitions and you just have to adjust, and you can't just keep insisting on living like how we lived in our 20s. It's just silly.
Right.
Also, too, I just think as more and more information comes out and research is done on more women, which traditionally research has been done predominantly on men. I think that as we learn more and we find more things out, we're allowed to be able to try that with our bodies and try new things that we never really thought about before. I know Kristi does a really good job with eliminating different things from her diet, and I need to do a better job about that. She's my role model in that way. But I do think that there's so much more we're learning with all the research that's coming out.
Yeah. And I find that personally, it's a real balance because especially with food, I come from a generation that it was all diet culture. And so I have to erase a little bit of that because it's not really about being skinny. It's about being strong, and healthy and having, but also we are just so pre-programmed with diet culture. It's very difficult to erase all of that. And I think a huge part of my well-being, it's been to try not to have diet culture dominate my thoughts so much.
Right.
But it's easier said than done.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, you both met when you were 9 months pregnant in a wedding from a mutual friend, correct? And then Lindsay, you're from Seattle. You worked in sales and marketing in the medical field. So like I know from your website, you were talking like you're more the extrovert from the duo. And then Kristi, you are from Billings, Montana, and you were in finance and accounting. And so you were both working on those fields for 10 plus years, right? Having your own careers, but you were friends. And then you decided to start Levant, and you both have different skills, different personalities. Tell us a little bit about how you went from that to being friends and working, and then to starting Levant. How did those ideas even come about? Have you been talking about this for a long time and then you plunged, or no, it was more like a last minute thing?
Yeah, I think a lot of it came together when, we both turned 40. Both her and I, we'd been friends and went through motherhood together. And both her and I separately wanted to start businesses. At some point, we just had this dream out there, like, what would it be like to do that? And when you start a business, and if you want a partner, it's so important to find someone that you not only get on well with, but someone who fills your gaps. And so in order for me to go and start a business, I need someone to fill out my gaps in the areas that I'm not as strong in. And I knew that I could be the dreamer, and I could sell, I could do all of that kind of stuff in the marketing side, but I just really needed someone who was incredible on my areas of opportunity and operations. I'm not a project manager. And think about it from an operations standpoint. And Kristi is just dynamic at it, and financials, obviously. So I think that for us, though, we wanted to start Levant because separately, we had been dabbling into non-toxic cleaners and organic cleaners. And we were finding that the cleaners weren't working as well as the conventional. So we were having to give up performance in order to do something better for our families, for our kids, for ourselves. And we just couldn't find that. So, and then on top of it, we were, I was putting dish soap in an olive oil bottle. We couldn't find beautiful bottles to sit on your counter. And once you have 3 kids, you realize you start cleaning up after them every day. And so spraying down counters, I didn't want to hide the Lysol or the Mrs. Myers or whatnot underneath the counter. I wanted to have it out. And Kristi had a very similar journey with her family as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we sat around and we talked about what were challenges that we were facing that we think that we could, solve. We didn't want to just create something that we didn't feel strongly about. So anyways, we spitballed a lot of different ideas, and this one was just kind of a powerful, option or lack of option at that time. I had 3 young kids. My middle son had developed eczema, had all these skin issues. I'm like doing all this research and realizing that everything I was using on his skin was basically continuing to harm it. And so I wanted to have better products in the home or safer products around his skin. But also, a little bit selfishly, I had just remodeled my kitchen and I had this beautiful space. And I'm like, I don't want to put neon blue dish soap on my counter. And I don't want to use 409 around my kids because it's really harsh and it burns my nose. Like, how is this not going to impact these little babies? So I think that women have a lot of really great ideas during that kind of early motherhood because you look through life through a whole different lens. And so I'm so glad that we came up with this idea at that point in time and decided to act on it. And there's something powerful about turning 40 and kind of looking back. I had a great almost 20 plus year career in finance and accounting and operations. And I'm like, and you listen to all these podcasts of all these people who've started these businesses and you're like, there's nothing special about them, we can do this too if we are brave enough to just do it. And so Lindsay's a little bit braver than me, and that's why I partner with someone like her. And so she took out an LLC and was like, we're doing this. And I was like, holy shit, we're going to do this. And then yeah. So
no, it's better when you have a partner that also pushes you a little, right? Because it's hard to just do it.
It's lonely. Entrepreneurship can be very lonely, but Lindsay and I are not lonely.
It's important to have someone push you, but it's also have someone there to pull you back to and rein you in. So I think that's where it's such a great balance of I need to be reined in a lot too, and Kristi needs to be pushed a lot, and we do that very equally, and it's really lovely when you can do that and communicate effectively, and we're very, very lucky in that way and special that we both do that well together.
Yeah, I think it's that was my next question was about that because from what I can see also from everything I see on Instagram, and I know Instagram is Instagram, but it looks like you guys have this really great chemistry. You were friends before and you're having fun. But like Kristi was saying, entrepreneurship most of the time is really hard, and then it's fun, and it's hard and it's fun. I know that the ups and downs can be really difficult. So how do you manage having your friendship and the business? Because those things can also can be tough on the friendship too. How do you manage that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's continuous conversation and about it. I view Lindsay through the lens is the same as I view my lens with my husband. She is somebody that there is no choice. We have to work, and it takes work, just like a marriage takes work. And that usually means a ton of communication. We think differently. That's what makes the business thrive, is that and how different we think, but that also means coming to the table and compromising and having a lot of open dialogue between us. We both grew up in male dominated industries where emotion was really not allowed. And so maybe, and it's a little bit more freeing to work with a business partner where emotion can be allowed, but it's, it's not screaming, it's just like, I feel deeply about this and this is why. And so for me, at least, I mean, like I'm on my phone, I have two people pinned up top, and it's my husband and it's Lindsay, because they're the two most important people in my life. And it's just tons of mutual respect. I mean, Lindsay is incredibly brilliant and for what she brings to the table. And I respect what everything that she's able to do for the business. And so when you have that mutual respect, I think the business can continue to thrive.
Yeah. I mean, and so from your point of view, Lindsay, what would you say to somebody, for a founder that's about to go and embark on a business with a friend or is thinking about it? What would be your advice? Like, what's the best thing that they should be thinking about it at this point before they take the plunge?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely, to echo on what Kristi said, it's you really need to create your clear boundaries, the boundaries of the relationship, and talking about when problems arise, because you're getting along really well when you start the business.
Yeah.
The challenge is what happens when there are ideas or whatnot that aren't agreed upon. For Kristi and I, we've something that I think it's just been so helpful to us when there's been an issue that arrives. We take a break, you step back, and then you talk about it, and then you move on. The most important thing is to move on and to not let it sit and let it linger, because that only makes it bad for everybody. So you have to be great with open communication for when either your feelings are hurt or when you're not being heard, that you can talk about it. And on the second side, you have to also be open to listen to that and be receptive to when Kristi comes to me and says, this is how she feels and this is how it does. Take a moment to absorb that and be really open to it. But I think not everybody in a friendship should go into business together. Oftentimes friends like each other because they are the same. And that's where I think businesses go wrong, is when you have a partner that is the exact same to you. Kristi and I became friends through our husbands, and then we found out that I really, really enjoyed her separately than the boys' relationship. And I enjoyed her because she taught me other things about parenthood, about being a businesswoman. And we just learned together. And that's how our friendship formed. And so I would really encourage anybody who wants to go into business with a friend, make sure that person fills your gaps, but that you talk about the ups and downs, or the downs with the ups, prior to entering into business, and making sure that you can communicate effectively prior to doing the business. Because I don't think we would have survived had we not been able to do this. In fact, I know we wouldn't have been able to.
But both of you came up with some amazing products, like Kristi was saying, was out of your own needs for, to solve problems for your own families and to really find things that were both beautiful and functional. I think, and I'm not just saying this, it's the products are excellent, but I think because at the time when you launched, was it right before COVID?
It was December 2020, so right in the middle.
I could see that there was great acceptance. You can see, and I knew you were growing. I even saw a video with Gwyneth Paltrow. Do tell. Yeah. I want to know. Yeah. But I mean, that was fun. But you were growing fast, no?
Yeah. I mean, Goop was one of our first major retailers. So when we first thought of this idea to launch Levant, I flew down to Goop and met with the team to see, would this be a product that your customer would resonate with? Because it is so expensive for us to make the product, because there are better ingredients inside of it, we knew we had to charge a premium for this product. But Goop was our very first retailer. And then Gwyneth, ultimately, she's just been the most incredible supporter of us and has said, whatever you need, I'm here for, as a mentor. I'll never forget, before we first met her, she said, I don't pretend to know it all, but I've gotten my hands dirty in all of it. And it's couldn't be more true that she is down to the nuts and wire. That woman has built Goop from the ground up and to what it is today. And that's not just her name behind it. It's truly, she's got an office, she goes into work, and has been a true leader and a mentor to us. So she's been great.
She has a big heart for female founders, and she truly does give back. Mm-hmm. When we launched on Goop, Lindsay and I went out on Instagram and did a live to just Lindsay and I chatting with each other, just like we had some champagne and we were cheersing each other, and we just couldn't believe it. For us, it was like such a magical moment. And I think we had tagged Goop in the live, and Goop put it in the company's Slack. So the live had gone into the entire company of Goop. So everybody watched it and then commented on it. And then Gwyneth commented or sent us a DM, just saying congratulations. And so that's kind of how the relationship kicked off. But she's just been a wonderful human. And she truly does she has this heart for female founders and wants to help in any way possible. And she's taken us under her wing. So it's been a dream to kind of have her in our corner.
Yeah, it's so great to hear that, but I'm a big fan of hers. She gets a lot of criticism, and I understand why in certain ways, but I also think that she's a curious person that really put her name behind things and took a lot of risk for things that she believed in, and she continues to do it. And I love she does in her product. She has great taste. So everything she puts out there is of quality and it's beautiful. It's like she does an amazing job. And I'm just really happy that she was supportive of you from the very beginning. It's really great to hear.
We're so
because also, when you're starting too, you don't have a household name, and the fact that she would take you under her wing to support, I think it's fantastic. So, I mean, this whole thing about being an entrepreneur, right? In your opinion, what's the best part and the worst part about being an entrepreneur, or maybe a female entrepreneur?
I am completely obsessed with it. My life has changed dramatically since going from working in the corporate world to working with Kristi and with our team. And the one thing that I can really boil it down to is that I am challenged every single day. And in my old life, or in my old career, it got to a point where I was so good at it, I stopped learning and I stopped growing. And I wasn't challenged anymore. And while that is comfortable, I like to live in the zone of being uncomfortable because that's where you learn, that's where you grow. And to be able to do that every day is such an honor. And I wouldn't change it for the world. I am so uncomfortable. I make fraction of what I did from a financial standpoint too. But that's okay, because I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. And I think the biggest challenge, though, is how do you turn it off? Kristi and I were both on vacation this last week, and it's almost impossible to turn your brain off to it. You're constantly thinking, right, did this get done? Oh, I need to work on this. Just got to look at these emails. And then you just start going down the rabbit hole, and finding the time to be able to turn it off and to mentally be there for yourself, for your family, for everybody is so important. So I'm still working on that, but those are my challenges, but I wouldn't give it up for the world.
Mm-hmm. I think the best part is bringing something that you thought of. It was this idea out into the world, and people actually want it. Like, that is so incredibly satisfying to know that something that you thought was like important, that there's several people and several retailers and we're just continuing to grow, that have captured the same feeling that Lindsay and I had when we came up with the concept. So that's just really incredible, and something that I love being able to show my kids, at least just mirror that. It's like Lindsay and I work really hard. Nothing is given to us. We are every single day working really hard to make this work and to continue to function. But if you put in that hard work, then you can see some benefits. So I like being able to show my 3 children what can happen when you work really hard. I think that my biggest challenge is, and I echo with not being able to turn it off. There is no off button. It's 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. But I also think, as far as being a female entrepreneur, especially at this stage in life, Lindsay and I are both very fortunate. We have incredibly supportive, involved spouses who pick up a lot of the load, because we're not as present as we used to be. But as mothers, there's no off button either. We carry the mental load of our family. And I have friends, male entrepreneur friends, whose wives work and some wives that don't work, and they don't ever have to think about a thing when it comes to their family, as far as any type of planning, the schoolwork, the dentist appointments, the doctor appointments, birthday parties, getting a summer babysitter. Like, we haven't even figured that out, but guess who's going to figure it out? It's going to be me. And so I just don't think men have that same challenge. And it's a mental, it takes a capacity away from Levant, right? Because we have to be thinking about our families.
I don't know how to do the mental load. I don't know how to solve that problem. But somebody needs to come up and solve that problem for us.
Yeah. And it's probably innate. It's just like part, as being a female, I don't know if I would ever be able to turn it off.
Well, let's just talk about some more fun things though. So I wanted to know from you, if you had to go and have dinner with 3 women, dead or alive, who would you pick?
My 3, Michelle Obama.
Yes.
Martha Stewart. I mean, Martha, just from building an empire. I mean, she's just incredible. Michelle, she's just such a grace. She's gone through the gamut, and I just think she has a lot to say. I want to hear more from her. And then I would think my 3rd one, which might be a little bit like, we don't need to get too political, but Ruth Bader Ginsburg, our RBG.
Oh yeah.
I'm kind of mad at her, and I want to have lunch. I want to have a drink with her, and I want to understand why she did what she did.
I idolize RBG. Like I have a painting of her that one of my friend artist, Christina Zimpo, did for us. And I idolize her, but I was mad at her at the end, and I was disappointed, but I'm sure, everybody's flawed. And that's the thing about it, right? You have idols and we're all flawed, and we make mistakes, but I think, yeah. I agree with you. Yeah. How about you, Lindsay? What are the 3?
Such a tough one. I'd have better answers with more thought, but I'm going to stick with these right now. So Sarah Blakely, I'm obsessed with what she was able to do with Spanx, and just how she scaled the business to how she did it, and she's really just absolutely rocked it. I got to go with Oprah. Oprah she's fun. She is so intelligent. She has changed the world. That woman has single-handedly changed the world. So I think she's wonderful. And then my 3rd would probably just be my grandma. I'd like to go back and there's so many questions that I want to ask and that I didn't. And so I think I'd probably go back and ask her those.
Yeah. So tell me what's next for you guys. You started with the cleaning products, then you added candles, and then there's beautiful laundry products. You keep evolving and coming up. What's next? Can you share what's next? I don't even know.
Yeah, the home fragrance category of Levant really evolved out of what customers were asking for. We didn't know that when we launched the company with cleaning products, that the fragrance would be so beloved that they would want it to in more parts of their home. And so now they want the scent to last longer. So the candles and the room spray and the reeds have been a fun way to expand Levant more into your home and becoming a place inside your home. So we'll continue. And then for us, it's kind of offshoots. And, the core is cleaning. So we'll have continuous offshoots of cleaning inside the home. But really, we look to expand through fragrance. And so we do have a new fragrance that's launching in late summer this year, and it is real good.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's incredible. Yeah.
Can't wait.
It's delicious. Yes, it's a good one. It's going to be a new color, a whole new colorway for the home. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
people can
do
always
love the blush.
Yeah, oh, you do?
I love all scents, and I do love the colors you chose too, just because that pink is so beautiful and it's not too pink and it's just the right pink. I can't wait to see what's coming up the pipe. And I also loved your holiday. I know you do this throughout the end of the year, and that is amazing too because it just smells like holiday, but it's a clean scent. So I appreciate that. I love that, the candle and everything.
Yeah, that winter fur this last year sold out, I think, within a couple weeks. It was absolutely,
it's great.
We were amazed with we'd done, I think that was our third year of doing it. And this year it just blew up and was sold out so fast. So that was great.
That was a great scent.
Yeah.
And it's also, I mean, like I said, I think it's a great gift, I think it's a thoughtful gift because it's useful, it's functional, but also beautiful. And with all the holiday parties, I that's what I was doing. I was going through all these holiday parties in the Hamptons, and I had my little holiday scent from Levant,
Thank you.
the soaps and the candles and all of those things. People got those from me. So now finally, we've been talking a lot about money recently. Matriarch, our mission was always to support women-owned businesses because we know that money is power and economic freedom is always the fastest way for women to really have more power, but also have more agency and do whatever they want to do in life. So I'm trying with my podcast to really bring that up to see if I can encourage more people to talk about it. So I wanted to ask you both, when you were growing up, was money openly discussed in your families or not? And how did that influence you, how you manage money today?
I mean, I think in my household, it was a topic of conversation because I was surrounded by people that had more than us and we had less. And so my parents would always want to, talk about how they could provide for us what we need versus what we want. And, but my parents very much encouraged me to have a job at a very young age. So I have been making my own money since I was 13 years old, working in the blueberry fields. And then Pete Nordstrom was the first person who signed my work permit when I was 15 and a half to work at a Nordstrom store. So my parents have very much instilled in me, if it's something that you want, you need to go work for it yourself. And that's always been my mentality. And with my children, they're raised in a different economic times than how I was raised. I had everything I needed, but that was plentiful. But with my children, they could probably have a lot more than what they need and what they want. But I really draw back. My husband and I, thankfully, we both draw back to how we were raised. And if you want something, you need to work for it. So we do talk about that and the value of things. They realize when you go to Shake Shack and it costs $50 for you and your friends, that is probably 4 hours of work that you needed to work for in order to do that. And is that how you want to spend your money? That type of conversation, I think it's very important to have because it's also liberating too, for you to earn it and how you spend it yourself.
Yes.
My family, we didn't talk about money. It just was very apparent we didn't have it. We didn't have much growing up. My parents provided the best they could, but my dad was a teacher, my mom was a nurse, and then they divorced, and so very similar path with Lindsay. It wasn't necessarily spoken about as money, but it was like, if you want anything, you're going to need to go get a job in order to provide and for the things that you need. And that was even like my cheerleading uniform. So
Mm-hmm.
have been working since I was 14 as well. I started out as a dishwasher. And so just that work at, and so when I look back, you think, you see it, you have friends that have more money than you and a little bit of an easier way through childhood. But what that instilled in me is that work ethic and the drive that and the value of money. And that's what my parents were able to instill in me. And so it is a little bit more challenging with our children because, my husband and I are in a better economic situation than we both were when we were raised. But we both have finance minds and backgrounds. And so we talk about money in the concept, same thing as Lindsay. It's like, okay, if we want to do this is how many hours, but my son is 14. So I'm like, I am waiting for you till you can get your first job. Like, what do you want to do? Let's talk about it. Like, he's like, oh, I want to work at Chipotle because he loves Chipotle so much and they'll give him a discount. Right. And I'm like, that's great. And everybody should work in the service industry at some point. So yes, we do. Like he has his own debit card that is his own bank account. And so he has to be able to manage his own transactions. And so that's how we do it inside of the family. As far as culturally and speaking about money over like a dinner conversation with friends, like, I don't know if that's what your question was getting at too, but no, I mean, I think culturally our generation, we do not speak about money. We don't speak, we don't talk about it.
Yeah, I find it that, yes, we don't speak about money. Many of us, I mean, I think you had a great upbringing in that sense, that things were instilled in you. Many of us, because we were girls, money was not discussed. But if I have many friends that had brothers, for example, and the parents would talk about money with the brothers and talk about investing, for example. But with the girls, they would talk about saving. Not necessarily. So the level of aggressiveness towards what you should do with the money and being active versus passive. Several of my guests told me the same thing, that they would say you have to save and be conservative, but they thought there's nothing I can gain from saving. I should be investing. When they became adults, they realized that. And so it's just so interesting as we talk more about these things, and how people are raised and how the kind of discussions we had or didn't have, because, as adults, I didn't become financially literate until much later in life, when I had to obviously find jobs and balance my checkbook and things like that. But it was just trial and error. I didn't have those specific conversations at home, so as a mom, I also have a 14-year-old and a 12, and I'm trying to change that here. Even the littlest things, like we went to a restaurant the other day and I had them look at the check, first of all, to check if everything was correct that we ate. And then they started looking at the prices and they were like, oh, this is expensive. I'm like, yeah, it's expensive. And then they had to calculate the tip. And then they were asking why do they always have to be tipped? And, we talked about how the restaurant business runs. So there's all kinds of conversations that get sparked from that you didn't even think about. But I figure, it can't hurt anyway, but hopefully they'll start valuing more the money that we spend with them, but also understanding how the world works financially, like the day to day, because I definitely didn't have that growing up. I sort of learned hard way.
Yeah. I love that.
I bounced a few checks in my time.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, who didn't, So finally, now I wanted to end this conversation by asking for each of you, if I was fortunate enough to give you $1 billion today for each of you, you had to pick one problem to solve. Oh, wow. What would you spend this $1 billion on?
I mean, I still think getting women and girls into STEM and research and science and technology is so important. I think we still lack in computer science, and having the women be the leaders of today, of going to space. Right now we've got other people going to space that are the men, but why can't we have the women be running those companies? It's truly, I think, starting from the ground up and starting those programs with children. And I think it starts with that younger generation and really investing in them. So that would be mine, and especially in younger girls.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to need a little bit more than your billion, but I am very concerned about climate change and for the future, for our kids and our kids' kids. It just, I think it's very real and it's very scary and it's barreling down at us. So that is where I would funnel all of that money.
Yeah, no, thank you. This is great. It's all worthy of solving and worthy of spending. But thank you so much. I had a great time talking to both of
Yes,
you.
Oh, this
thank
was
you,
so
Patricia.
fun. I love your questions.
I know, me
Thank
too.
you. I just really, I always learn something from people, but I do love what you stand for. And I love your partnership and your friendship. I think more women can learn from this. And I think it's nice also that you have this mission and you have this drive, but you're also taking your time. You know, you can see that you're very thoughtful about how you're developing your products and you're thinking about how you are operating in the world. And I think that that's nice. It's nice to see a thoughtful brand and a thoughtful company out in the world.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Wealthy, the Matriarch podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, it would mean so much to me if you shared this with someone. Make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and head to matriarch.com to stay connected. I'm your host, Patricia Asui Reed. Thank you so much for being here.